Oh, yes.
Welcome back once again, everyone. Today we're taking a look at the brand new Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom number 16, Deluxe Class Huffer. Huffer is an all-new Deluxe mold, and is the first proper update we've received of the character since ever, really. Most recent toy we got was a Combiner Wars retool of a Thrilling 30 Optimus Prime, which just really did not do the trick for people. And I think this has been one of the most highly demanded reattempts at one of those mini-bot characters. So they kind of went the same direction with Huffer that they did with the likes of Cliff Jumper and Warpath, where they took a character that's normally like core legend size and made him just a pretty small deluxe with some good accessories and, you know, nice engineering. So if you've seen my reviews before, you know how this goes. We're going to take a look at Huffer's packaging, then we'll open it up. We'll see his fate reveal card. Though I'll only show that part if it's actually something new. I'm not going to keep showing repeat cards. I've been pretty unlucky with that. But then we'll see Huffer's instructions, and then we'll see the toy itself in both vehicle and robot modes. We're doing some group shots and comparisons today, and then at the end of the video, I'll give my final thoughts. So Huffer comes in your standard Deluxe Kingdom packaging. You got your little half window here where he's very prominently on display. And he just looks really cool, man. I mean, this is like really cartoon accurate. I dig that. You can see across the front and the side his artwork of vehicle mode and robot mode. They both look quite stellar, I gotta say. It came out really, really well. On the top, you get the toy's number, you get your Autobot little cave drawing there. Then on the back, you get the renders for the toy, which as far as I can tell are pretty close to the finished product. Looks like the hands are a different color. Toy's hands are black and the render they're silver. And we might discover some other differences here as we go through it. But you can see vehicle mode, robot mode. Takes 14 steps to transform, so he's kind of midway there for deluxes as far as complexity. And then you can see his little city and rank badge here. And lastly, on this side, you get your standard Kingdom side panel. Okay, so we get an Optimus Prime fate reveal card. Now, I got a good feeling about this, because first Optimus I received in the second wave, so it should be something different. Let's see what we get. Hopefully it's not dead Optimus, because that was the first wave. Oh, that's different! Woo! Alright, look at this. Kind of hard to see, but yet basically the same image that's on the foil there. So it's a little different. Oh wait, no. It's kind of hard to make out, but there you have a mixture of Autobots and Maximals in the background. Boy, this is really hard to see. I can see Bumblebee here, Rhinox, looks like Optimus Primal and Air Razor. Not a very clear card, so that's cool. What's this? Leads Cybertron to a new eye. Golden Age. Okay. I think there's a bit of a typo there. Leads Cybertron to a new eye Golden Age. I don't know what happened here. Ignore that part. Alright, so that's cool. That's cool. So, this seems to be a Destiny that's more meant for, you know, Kingdom, right? Because you see him leading, like, the Maximals and the Autobots here. So, that's kind of a neat outcome. A lot less bleak than the whole, you know, dying in battle thing. Float around in space. So, we'll see if this holds true in the future. Alright, now we get the instruction book. Get his name here, the render, branding, all that. Open this up. This shows you how to have him wield his shield and big old rifle thing. And then they go straight to the transformation. So that's pretty neat. Wraps around here. This forms kind of like a basic truck. And then they have you attach his accessories to flesh out the truck bed to make it more like, you know, some kind of pickup or something. So that's really neat. I really like how the gun splits in half, and then you use the insides of the halves to color match against the orange truck there. It's really neat. And I'll show you guys that in a second. What this doesn't show is the whole feature that I'm sure you guys are aware of by now, that he can tow Optimus Prime's trailer, like the Earthrise or Kingdom Leader Optimus Prime. So don't worry, I will show that, even though the instructions let us down here. Okay, now we get Huffer's vehicle mode. And pretty chunky little thing, isn't it? It was very, very solid and compact, which I like. I love the way the whole arm smokestack thing worked out. They look very solid and very cool. You can see he's got the 5mm ports on the sides there. He's got some here on the back end of the truck too. The front end is painted this really nice silver color. I like that. You got a nice clear blue windshield, black for the windshield wipers. I like that they're taking the time to paint windshield wipers. They used to be very rare, but I have seen that more and more lately. The top lights are cool because they paint like the metal casing, but then leave the actual lights clear blue, so that's neat. Silver side view mirrors, again, another really neat touch. Which you'd expect this, right? He's a small deluxe, so you ought to see that leftover budget go towards the paint and everything. The wheels, you can see, are your standard clip-on style, but luckily the clips go into the body instead of poking through the wheel. He's got painted silver hubcaps. This whole truck bed is painted this like really dark gray, almost a black color, with some silver on the ends. Gets red painted headlights. So they didn't slack on this guy. They really put a lot of effort into the paint and everything, which I love that. My only problem with this vehicle mode is this. Robot fists sticking out. Why? Why do you do this? So, yeah, unfortunately, that's a big compromise they made. I guess they didn't want to engineer in, a way to flip the fists all the way in or something, so we are stuck with this. It may be a deal breaker for you if you don't like, the robot parts in your vehicle mode. And then the underside is really just the chest and everything. We'll get a better look at that here a bit. So as far as, let's see, rolling, no issues here. Rolls very well. No clearance problems. Looks like this wheel's rubbing a little bit. There we go. So these little panels that the arms are mounted on, they come very close to touching the wheels, and if they're not pulled back all the way, they will actually rub against the wheels. Just be aware of that. May have to just manipulate those a little bit. But overall, looks really solid. I like it. If we can just ignore the black fists on the back, all the better. Here we get to see a comparison with the most recent Huffer toy that came before this, and this is the Combiner Wars Legends class Huffer. And really what it is an orange IDW Optimus Prime with Huffer's head. So it was very, very disappointing, and they hadn't really gotten to the point where they were super hard up on getting us that like G1 accuracy for the toys, so they weren't afraid of just slapping a new head on something and calling it a new character. Like in the same line of Combiner Wars, that was really prevalent in the Legends class. Like we got this Huffer, we got a Pipes, who was just a blue version of this, we got a Wreck-Gar that was just a little groove, a Warpath that was Megatron, Chop Shop that was just Scrapnel, so yeah. Not the most high effort Legends class toys. They did start getting a lot better after Titan's Return and, Power of the Primes and all that. They started really upping the ante there a bit. But yeah, so you can see, you get why they would use an Optimus body for a Huffer, right? Because, the general shape is kind of there. It's a truck, big old boxy front end. So I get what they were going for, but man, am I glad they revisited this guy, because out of all of the mini-bots that have been released in Generations, the Huffer and Pipes one I felt were like by far the most lacking and by far the most in need of an update. So I'm really glad that they're doing this. There's an all but officially confirmed Pipes on the way, who will be part of Wave 4, I think, of Kingdom, which will hopefully receive the retooling necessary to separate him from, this Huffer. I don't want to see just a new head repaint, we've come past that point in Generations, I think. Okay, now I want to show off the whole trailer towing gimmick that Huffer has been designed around. So to make this work, you have to remove his little truck bed pieces. So these are his gun halves, a little shield, just plugs on with 3 little posts there. So you get this standard trailer hitch. So we can bring out our big old trailer here from the Earthrise or Kingdom Optimus Prime. And look at that. It works very, very well. It's the perfect height. You can tow this thing around, and this whole thing is a reference to like literally one scene in the Generation 1 cartoon. So I love when they do the obscure callbacks like that. And honestly, he scales better with the trailer than Optimus does, because the trailer for Earthrise Optimus is way, way undersized, and that was a result of cost cutting, where they gave him this little tiny trailer, took out a whole bunch of the features of the trailer, and we pretty much just got a plastic shell. So yeah, I know a lot of people aren't crazy about this little wimpy trailer, but it does look really good being towed by Huffer. This actually works out very well. I dig this. And again, really neat little feature. They didn't have to include it, but they did, so I gotta give them points for that. All right, now for the transformation. If you haven't already, go ahead and remove his accessories. Pop the back end loose here. Forms his legs. So do that. Separate them. And take these gray panels, flip them all the way back. Become heel supports. Make them nice and stable. There you go. All right. And you want to kind of bend his smokestack arms away from the front of the cab and lift the cab front up and out of the way like this. So you get all that. I'm going to rotate these out a bit, get you some clearance. Going to flip the fist up. You're going to bring this torso section down. Make sure you get the clearance around the cab to do that. A little bit of rubbing going on. All right, so you get all that. You're going to fold the wheels in, and they do like to try to pop off their supports there, so just watch for that. There you go, just like that. Bring the shoulder panels up, snap them in place. Bring the arms down, face them forward, like so. Turn the head around, and just swing all this back up. Now the instructions are kind of vague on the exact placement of this cab and where it needs to go, because it can go all the way like this high, which is too high. Or it can swing all the way down. Problem is that creates a lot of clearance issues on his shoulders. So my personal recommendation is keep them about one click away like this. So not too far back or too high, but he can swing his shoulders around without rubbing. That's what I would do personally. And again, the instructions don't show it very clearly, so kind of hard to tell what the intention is. All right, but yeah, here he is. Pretty simple, but he's very stocky, very solid looking. Not too much like big empty gappage going on here. You can see the insides of his forearms are filled out by the fist pieces. And overall, I think he looks really, really good. Got some emptiness back here, which I'm not sure what they could have done about that based on the transformation, but I don't know, maybe. Maybe they'll make a filler kit for it, who knows. All right, so his shield, you can go ahead and attach that right there on his forearm, like so. And then you can take your gun halves. They just plug together like this. Wielded like so. Now, one thing I like about the gun halves is they're molded in orange to get, that orange panel appearance for the truck mode, but also just makes them look cool because they're kind of two-tone, right? Because you get this orange right here, you get the handle. Makes it a little less plain than just a straight dark gray. So yeah, look at this. I mean, this looks like one of those, third-party offerings back before we thought a proper Huffer was even possible. So he looks really solid. The head, hard to get to because of the cab, but it does turn on a swivel. I think it's ball jointed, yeah, because it can look up and down a little bit. Shoulders are universal joints. So you get that movement, you get bicep swivel, elbow bend. No wrist swivel, which is unfortunate. You'd think, since he's small, they could have engineered that in, but no. He has a full waist swivel, which is nice. Universal hips. Kind of a clearance issue bringing them out, but they get a good amount of range. Thigh swivel up here, bending knees, and ankle tilt. So, very posable little character. Again, very solid looking. Doesn't look cheap. Looks like a proper entry in the Kingdom toy line. And yeah, I really like him. I really never thought we were going to get this good of a G1 accurate Huffer, at least not officially. So I just absolutely love the way this guy came out. Here he is with the Legends Huffer again, and you can see there's just absolutely no comparison here. Like, you can basically just throw this one in the trash. Shoo, be gone. Yeah, I always thought that Huffer and Pipes were just the worst Legends class toys to come out of Generations, so this new version is like a godsend for collectors. I mean, this thing is so doofy looking. Look at that. It looks a lot better as Optimus, though, not, you know, by a huge margin. In fact, the fact that this exists and they made like a little Legends version of IDW Optimus makes me very sad that we never got a full-size, official, transforming version of IDW Optimus, because that design is just so cool. But I think the days of the comic accurate toys are behind us, because that was like a Thrilling 30 thing, and then aside from a couple of call-outs and like Titan's Return, they really seem to just moved away from anything deviating from like original Generation 1. Which is a shame, you know. I like the G1 updates, but it would be nice if we got, you know, some more obscure things in there. Maybe some Hearts of Steel stuff, you know, some cool things. Not just always the same stuff. But that's a discussion for another day. Maybe another video. Now for this final part, we get a big old group shot of Huffer along with most of the other Autobot mini vehicles in Generations. I didn't include the terrible Pipes figure because I just don't really want to acknowledge its existence. And you might also notice I'm missing Gears because, well, I don't have Gears. And he's really expensive on the secondary market. So, kind of holding out hope for a proper Gears update here soon. In fact, he was planned for Kingdom but got scrapped. So the design's out there. Like, it's there. Maybe the next toy line we'll get Gears. Which means we'll probably get another Swerve too, though I do like this Swerve. Alright, but yeah, I did this shot just to give you an idea of how he scales with other mini-bots. I think he is, he's officially the tallest if you go by the top of his cab, or if you go by his head, he's a little bit shorter than Warpath, so he's pretty big. Now, in the cartoon scheme of things, that's actually pretty accurate. He was depicted as more or less a full-size Autobot, despite his toy being quite small. It does create a problem, though, because most of his mini-bot buddies, as you can see, are very small by comparison, despite also being depicted as, you know, not quite tiny in the cartoon. So, yeah, this does create a bit of a conundrum, because we were getting to the point prior to War for Cybertron where we were getting really close to getting proper updates of the mini-bots at the Legends scale, and, you know, it was good because they had, like, a nice unified scaling. With War for Cybertron, they've moved all the mini-bots up to a Deluxe price point, which makes even tiny guys like Bumblebee just way too big. So, I swear they do it on purpose. Like, they made sure not to give us all the mini-bots in one scale before they just, like, hit the reset button. Now they're doing them all bigger, so that we're like, gotta collect them again now. I think they do it on purpose. They really do. So it's a shame. I'm not sure how far they're going to go with this, with, you know, upsizing the mini-bots. I think it depends on just how popular each character is, whether or not it warrants the attention. Like, I don't know if they're ever going to do a Deluxe Windcharger. Like, Windcharger is just not that popular of a character. He's a relative unknown. But I could be wrong. We'll see what happens. We know it's at least a good possibility that there's going to be another Swerve and Gears coming. Which I would love to see how that design pans out, because as much as I like the Thrilling 30 Swerve, I feel like the Gears really misses the mark. But, yeah, again, we'll have to see. May happen, may not happen. So, final thoughts on Huffer. I really, really like this toy. I think he's probably the standout deluxe in this second wave. I mean, I love Air Razor and, Ractonite. The whole fossilizer concept is cool. But just as far as presentation, he just looks great. He looks very premium. And, my only gripe with this toy is the visible fists in the truck mode. Again, I feel that in, War for Cybertron 2021, that shouldn't happen anymore. Or at least not at, anything above core class scale. But that's, it's what they went with. So I guess it depends whether or not that's a deal breaker for you. Me personally, I'm willing to overlook it. I mean, they blend in fairly well. Black is a nice color for just kind of not being noticed. And overall, I think he turned out fantastic. The robot mode especially. God, I love the robot mode. And the fact that he can tow Optimus Prime's trailer is another great plus. Again, I think he scales better with the trailer than Optimus does. So I highly recommend this figure. And he does seem to be one of the more sought-after ones in this wave. From sightings that I've seen reported from people, whatever they find the deluxes, if there's anyone missing, it's Huffer. So, yeah, you may have to struggle to find him at first till they reach saturation, but I think he's well worth the search because he is just awesome and a huge, huge improvement over what came right before. Of course, that is just how I feel about this Huffer toy. Now I want to know what you all think. Do you like him as much as I do, or do you see more flaws, whereas maybe I'm just kind of blinded and starstruck by the G1 accuracy? Do you like the fact that he's a deluxe scale toy, or do you wish he would have been maybe something core class to scale better with his Legends mates? Any and all feedback's always welcome in the comments section. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to toss it a like. Let YouTube know you want to see more stuff like this. If you do want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you always get a heads up when I post something new. And thank you for joining me for this look at the brand new Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom Deluxe Class Huffer. And with all that said, I will see you next time.